Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Grateful Purpose podcast. I am so excited for today's episode. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let's go right into it.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Fatima Yunus, and when I have to introduce myself, it's like such a mumble jumble because I'm so many different things. I'm sure a lot of you guys can like relate. I know a lot of multi-passionate people. I know you're one of them. But for starters, I am a mom of three, soon to be four. I'm a children's book author. I'm a content creator. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. I'm a certified health coach, and I have a background in marketing and design.
Amazing. You're literally doing everything, and I'm so excited. You're going to be a new mom, not a new mom, but a mom of four now. So,
It's a new experience every time, which is so crazy because every baby is so different. Every pregnancy is so different. So I'm just like prepping myself, and all my kids were unplanned. So
yeah.
like mentally having to like be like, all right, you're gonna, and I'm always in denial until the baby's born. I'm like, no, I'm not pregnant. This is tacos.
Yeah, of course. I
And then the
love
baby's born, and then like so much changes all over again, and you have to get back into going into a routine, finding yourself again. So all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Honestly, it's a blessing, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I mean, just the shoots you've been having with the babies now, I'm like, oh my God,
I love
iconic.
doing the shoots, but can I say it's so hard? Like that last shoot, girl, we were at the cafe, and I was like, because I had to do indoor shoots because it's cold, and
Yeah.
these kids started fighting over like where to sit, and I'm just like, they're both the same chairs, just sit down. And then we had like some like muffins and croissants, and then I had coffee, and I was like, dude, this is gonna slip like fall over the props. So we
Yeah.
had to like move the food to this. Oh my God, it was crazy. But at the end, we got good shots, and that's what matters
Yeah.
because they love it. Like they look through these pictures and they're like, "Mommy, that's us." And I'm like, you know what? It's worth it. It's
Yeah.
totally worth it.
Absolutely. No, I cannot imagine with three little girls just, oh, I'd be so stressed. And then on top of that,
And
you're
it's
right.
like, stop acting like babies. I'm like, they're babies. They're gonna act like babies.
They are babies, and they're the cutest, and they're just, oh, they're so photogenic too. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. They give me baby fever every time they pop up. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like,
I'll
okay,
drop them off to you, and that fever will be like healed. You'll be like, I'm good.
I'm like, oh, okay, it's like it's been a day. We'll go into Manhattan, and then that's it.
I'm like, I'll see you 6 months later.
I know, I know, literally. No, I love it. It's honestly, look, I love it because I have my older brother, so I'm like a sibling, and then the more the merrier. I just feel like that's the nice part about being in a Brown fam. We all have so many cousins and siblings. It's like,
Oh, and growing up, I just had my sister, right? And then I had two younger sisters, but I was 18 when they were born. So
yeah,
I count them as my kids. But I remember being like so jealous of all my other cousins. I had like 4 or 5 like siblings, and they were like just having fun. Like even though it was chaos, like they were having fun. And I see
yeah.
that with like my kids now. Like they have each other and they'll fight, but they love each other so much. Like if someone's sick, they start putting like their hand on their head, like, "Oh my God, she has a fever. She has to sleep, mommy." And I'm like, "Oh
Oh,
my babies."
that's
So
like
I
on.
really think having siblings, and especially when you're working on their bond and just like helping them navigate it, like it's just such a beautiful thing to hold on to.
Yeah.
So I just hope I can give them that like lifelong bond.
No, yeah, you're an amazing mom, and it's like so inspiring to see because I'm like you're doing so many different things, and
Oh,
then
you're
I
so
just
crazy. I'm surprised I
I
still have hair. Thank God I wear hijab. So like, so if I lose my hair, you guys won't even know.
no, it's honestly, I mean, it's three little girls, and now you're having a fourth one on the way, and it's like and you're doing it all, and you're doing it so aesthetically pleasing that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is
But I grew up
superwoman.
I wanted to be aesthetic, and my husband's like, "You need to let the aesthetics go." I'm like, "No."
Never. Are you kidding?
I'm
It's
like,
it
"I will never do that."
like absolutely not. We have standards. Absolutely not. No, ma'am. No, there's standards to be upheld,
Yeah.
especially like I mean, even with Fashion Week, the fact you still made it out to the Del Scott show.
I love
Um,
that show. It was so much fun.
she's
And you know what? Like that's like just getting out is like things I do for myself. And I feel like things like that is important for me to do because those are like my mental health days.
absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
why I don't go to many shows as much anymore. Like I'll go to one or two, like,
Yeah.
quantity over quality and all that. And then I feel like it's enough for me. Like it does the job.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and then, I'll have to have you back on for my little Fashion Friday series,
I'm
which I
so
started.
excited for Fashion
Mm,
Week, and it's so soon, which is crazy.
it's literally February. It's kinda crazy. We just
Is it the beginning
spontaneously.
of February? I forget. It's the beginning?
It is, it's like the 1st week of
Right,
Feb.
right, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like I know I got invited, which you have to come to this one event, it's like the Modern Day Bride event. It's on
Ooh.
February 7th, I wanna say? It's that
Uh-huh.
first Friday, and it's crazy, it's literally coming up, and we just kinda
Right.
spontaneously
Yeah.
planned a whole trip to India all of January.
Oh
So,
my god, that's gonna be so nice, girl.
I'm excited. This is the perks of having, like, brown cousins that are doctors. I need to get dental work done, and we're going. We're doing it
My
because
god, girl. That's
it's
what my husband did last year. He went to Pakistan because he had to get, like, dental work done.
that's literally, and I was like, "I need to go before Fashion Week because the pain, and already it's, like,
Yeah.
snowing, and I don't know what's happening with the drones, so I'm like, "Can I just, like, go there and back and be safe, please?" That's all I want. I'm like, so I don't know. It's crazy, but I'm very excited for Fashion Week. It's gonna be really, really fun, and that's how we first met, and I
No,
love it.
that's how we first met.
We
And
literally
it
met.
was the Girl Scott show, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was last February. Oh,
Yes, it was last February. Wow.
time is flying. I'm like, I don't know where things are going. It's just so crazy and hectic, and I love it. But we will go right into our second question because we're talking all about social media and the aesthetics and everything. So, if there was a TikTok ban on your career tomorrow, what would your backup plan be?
I was looking at that. I know there it's like in the question of whether it is or not.
Yeah,
TikTok, I haven't been on much, honestly. It's been hard to keep up with. I've mostly been doing Instagram and I've just been trying to focus on one social media. But that being said, it's like at the end of the day, these are just apps, right? And they're not ours. And, they can be gone tomorrow. So I think just like that being in the talks just kind of reminds me how like I had a goal back then to have like an email list, have like a newsletter or something where your community can find you if these things happen to be gone tomorrow because they really can, right? That is the reality. We do not own these apps. So I
yeah,
think for next year going forward, I do want to have some sort of like website or like start a newsletter. Because I did start an email list and then, I want to just be able to grow that because that way you can communicate with your community that you build that takes a lot of hard work. And
yeah,
sometimes I think about people when their accounts get like scammed and they like lose their accounts and I'm like, "Oh my god." And as creators, we know how much work and time that takes into it. And at the end of the day, all of these things can be gone. So
yeah,
also just focusing on something more that is like mine that I have rights to and like, have
yeah,
fully like access that it just kind of like brought me back into that. Like, okay, I need to make sure I have that as a backup plan because I think it's very important for us to have that.
yeah. Absolutely. No, I totally agree. I love the newsletter because I think it's so real because we're as creators, we're always checking our emails just for all like the brand collabs and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that's a really no one's
Like
ever
a
said that
monthly
before.
thing, like a monthly, it doesn't have to be like crazy because nobody wants to hear from you all the time. You don't
Yeah.
want to get blocked, but like a monthly newsletter. And I think that's also really fun to like make also like on
Yeah.
Canva. And it's nice to have for your records as well, for your
Yeah.
portfolio. So that kind of helps organize things because sometimes I think about like how they have those end of year like month or like month
Yeah.
dumps and you put in these pictures and you're like, oh my God, all this did happen this month, and you tend to forget. So
Yeah.
that's a great way to like just wrap it all up, and then it really helps you align
Yeah.
for the future, for the next month, what you want to work on, what you don't want to. So I think that would be great. And
Yeah.
again, I always like kind of like go above that I can do, but it is on my list. I think that would be a great addition.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. I think it's, especially you don't want to get blocked from the emails, but at the same time, it's
If
just
you do it monthly, I think it's something nice that people can like look into.
yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are doing it as much these days just because we have social media, but it's also like exactly, it can go away like that. And that's the scary part. It's like today it's TikTok, tomorrow what else is it? But it's all about also just documenting your journey, and I know with you having the babies and knowing all that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love documenting everything, and then they love it too. Like we were just putting some photos into like our Amazon photos, and you can see it on the TV. So they were
Oh,
just sitting down with their blankets. They're like, "Oh, we want to see Amelia little, and we want to see Honey a little, and we want to see the kittens little." So they love looking back at the memories. And I'm just like, I try to print pictures out too. And I think that's a great
Yeah.
thing. Walgreens has like a great, like, I think it's like 10 cents or 15 cents per photo. I forget.
Yeah.
But it's always great to have stuff printed, like your main photos that you've taken. It's
Yeah.
always nice to have that as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm like a very like sentimental person like that too, where
Yeah.
I want all the photos like from my best friend's wedding too. I have like all of our photos from
On
those photo booths over.
albums. And I
Yeah.
think as millennials, it like brings us back because I remember we had photo albums growing up, and it's like,
Oh, yeah. No, that's like the thing whenever we would go over to our cousin's house and everything, it'd be someone's wedding album and you're like 2 years old in there and you're like, I don't know you, but cool. This is
it's so much
great.
fun to like look at.
Yes. I love it. It's just it holds the memories. I mean, I think me and my friend Liv are the only ones in our friend group to have the Polaroid camera with us at all times.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
It's like the best little thing
I'll
because I
bring the Polaroid camera and then I'll forget to take pictures from it. And I'm like, oh,
or I don't have
wait.
film. Literally, it's like it's just
But the
always
Polaroids are just so nice. Like it's
they're
just
so
I
cute.
love
I
those
like,
moments.
I just they're so fun because I have photos from like my birthday from there, and
Oh, I
it's just
love
like
that.
fun because you'll find them randomly too sometimes, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that was so long ago.
I love it. You have the coolest, like cutest little Polaroid. I love it.
Thank
It's
you. She's like little and pink, and
yeah.
I just have to remember to buy like film and everything,
Mm,
but other than that, but I love it, and I really agree. I think at the end of the day, that's like one of the reasons we have social media is to really
yes.
document all of these things and, stay aesthetically pleasing and just remember everything in the best way. And it's so awesome that you can show your kids too and just be like, yeah, look.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so amazing. I love it. And your feed and just like I said, everything you're doing, you're literally a superhero. Like you're literally Superwoman doing you're pregnant, you're going to Fashion Week events, you're doing everything. You're an author. And now, it's so important, especially since you're pregnant. I'm actually kind of really excited to ask you the next question of how do you deal with your mental health on a daily basis with the kids, the social media, everything like that?
Oh my God, this is like a lot. And I feel
Yeah.
like I've had a lot of really hard days where I'm just like, what do I do? And here's the thing with like when you're a parent, your day is like a roller coaster. Like it's up and down. Like we'll have calm moments and then we'll have really crazy moments. And it's like I read somewhere where it's like in motherhood, the highs are highs and the lows are lows, and it just gets really hard to get out of it. I have to say, like, all the things I do is only possible because of my really supportive husband, and we really just have each other, and that gets very difficult as well because it's just not enough, like we need a village, and a lot of people living in the city, we don't have a village and we just rely on each other. So
Yeah.
having to take care of both of our mental health, and we do like a tap out thing where it's like, okay, I need to tap out, like I need to go in the room, cry, scream, whatever. I need to take a break, so we'll tap out and then we'll do what we have to do, scream, cry, whatever, and then go back out there. But also just showing kids that we do have emotions, because I know there's like the gentle parenting where kids don't even know there's issues, and I'm like, I'm having a hard time right now. I'm like, this situation is a lot and mommy needs a break. And I'll go in the room and I'll just like, they'll be knocking on the door and I'm just like, and then I'll come out and I'm like, I needed a minute because this is a lot for me. And they're like, oh, okay, mommy. And they also had a minute to get their tantrums out. And
Yeah.
then like when my husband's there, it's easier because then he'll handle them and he'll be like, we need to like do like redirect them and all those different things. So having him is just a big deal, and there's like so many things I would just not be able to do if he wasn't like supportive. It just would not happen. Like it would be impossible. So I
Yeah.
think we both are very aligned in keeping our mental health at a good place, and just talking about how can I help you and how
Mm.
can you help me, and just really trying to be the strongest team that we could be. But it's so hard. I feel like every time we add like another child, everything changes. And because for especially for me, there's like hormonal changes, and there's like I become a different person. And for him to have to navigate through that and deal with that and just understand it while raising the kids, it's a lot. But then we remind ourselves, like when we have those calm days and the kids are asleep, we're like, this is temporary.
Yeah.
And we are making these beautiful memories with them, and it is what it is, and we're all in this together. Like sometimes I'll be like upset, I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody, and he's
Yeah.
like, my husband's like, we're all gonna go through this together. We're all like having a crazy time, and I'm like, yeah. And then we like jump back in there, and we're like, all right, how are we doing this? And I think it's so important with kids for like mom and dad are just like a team, and they're like aligned.
Yeah.
I keep saying that word, but I think it's so important to just
Yeah.
be that way and like understand how are we going to tackle these issues and understanding when we need a break. So what the bad part about that is that we don't get to go out together as much because we have to take turns going out. So it's like when I'm out, he's with the kids, and when he's out, I'm with the kids. So it's like,
Yeah.
so we just have to like ride with the waves and understand like we are in a different season of life where we don't have the same freedom that we did, and we miss that so much because I feel like we were so adventurous. We're like, let's go here, let's do this, let's do that, and then come back home, knock out, and go to work next day. We're like, no problem. But
Yeah.
now it's not like that. Now we're like, let's go to sleep
Yeah.
because we're gonna regret this in the morning.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I love that. And honestly, it's really it is goals. Like that is just that's the best feeling when you have that,
It's
partner
so
that
important,
you can
especially for ambitious women. Like, it's so important to have someone that gets it, that
Yeah.
also understands that, like, because sometimes, like, why do you have to do all these things? Like, what's going on? And just understands that that's just how she is. And she's going to have something new every 2 months. It's going to be something. And, we're going to just have to, like, figure it out. So
Yeah.
having someone that, like, understands you, and then, just someone that's mature enough to get that and have those communications and conversations with you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I 100% agree. I think it's so important because communication is super key. And I think especially being
And
the ambitious.
comprehension. Sorry to cut you off. Like
No,
I
no,
can talk to
please.
you all the time, but if you're not understanding what I'm saying, like comprehension and like, the maturity to understand what this woman is saying
For
is
sure.
very important. Because if he doesn't get it, I could be talking, you know, all the time and he's just gonna be like, it's not gonna make a difference. So I'm
Yeah.
like, do you truly understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
No,
vice
it's
versa, because sometimes I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean?
it's so true, and that's the biggest factor, especially, I mean, keeping it very raw and real, like how it is with brown families. We're tend to be pushed to the arranged marriage side, and that's kind of the situation both my brother and I are in right now of getting all of that
I'm
kind
in
of.
arranged marriage.
Huh, you are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that okay, that makes me feel even more
And that's
amazing.
why I was like so harsh in the beginning because I was like, you need to understand how I am. And I was like, this is not gonna work out. And then it just ended up turning that's like a whole other story, how that ended up turning into like a love story, which was so funny.
I love
But yeah,
that.
I remember like I was always against arranged marriage. And one day I just got like fed up. I'm like, all right, what? Like who is it, mom? Like tell me. And
Yeah.
then I was like, I'll give it a try. And I was like, oh, okay. You're actually not like all the brown men that I've been. And I was like, what? And then I was just waiting for him to turn into the brown man that I thought he would. I'm like, like also when you like I feel like somebody that goes through trauma, they're just like don't understand when things are going well. You're like, what's gonna happen here? Like even now it's so bad. Like if he doesn't pick up the phone, I'm like, oh my god, something bad happened.
Oh,
He's gone. Like oh what? And my husband's like, what's wrong with you? Like my phone was on like silent. I was like, I was so worried. Now I have to look for like 3 jobs.
oh my god. No, I completely no, that it's so true. You're scared of so many things because of trauma and everything like that. But on top of that, yeah, like there is that stigma of, unfortunately, there are those kind of stereotypes of brown men. And for the longest time, even, I mean, now I'm still on the fence, but since I turned 25, it's been rolling in. And even for this India trip, I was like, I don't want any setups. I need my dental work done. Like,
I know when you're young and when you're not married, you're like, oh my god, I better not come back from a
oh
marriage.
no, absolutely not. I mean,
But
it's
you
kind
never know. Maybe you'll fall in love like I did.
yeah, I mean, and you know what it is? It's like obviously we kinda, like it was crazy. I was telling this to literally my endocrinologist, who is also Indian. I don't know if he was arranged or not, but we were talking about that. He's like, "Well, you don't want to rush into anything. You just like
Yeah.
want to be happy." And that's like the key. I feel like it's wild. There are some stories I could tell on and off the podcast about these kind of situations, and that's the thing. I mean, you're a prime example of it can end up, in a safe, healthy way. And that's like what I want in my life too. And I know a lot of people listening too. It's sometimes it's scary because
Yeah.
you've gone through so much. You're like, why are you being nice to me? That's how I feel like
And it feels
sometimes.
weird where you're like, what is going on? I'm like, what is he hiding?
I
And then
know.
you go on like just like, doing this thing. And I think I mean, I honestly don't think it's a bad thing because we do have to protect ourselves. And I don't want to say I'm a pessimistic, but I do like to look at all the other things that could go wrong just so I can be prepared. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that's like an eldest daughter thing or like what, but it's just that's just how I function. It's like I need to know all the things that can go wrong. And
Yeah.
I just know myself that no matter what happens, I'm gonna figure it out. Like no matter what happens, and I'll start figuring it out before the situation even happens.
Yeah.
Definitely not healthy, but I think that's just how I function.
I mean, I'm on the same boat. Like, and that's the truth is like I'm the eldest granddaughter, my brother is the eldest grandson. So it's like also those kind of pressures where we have little cousins. They're only like a year or two younger than me and whatnot. And with the whole marriage thing, but also just in general, my guard is always just gonna be up.
Yeah.
I think, and that's the thing. What most people will think like a few steps ahead, we're like the next year ahead. Like we're thinking so many different things just
And
because
B, C's, and D's, like,
literally like there is a backup plan for the backup plan's backup plan. Like it is, there's so much going on, and it's the truth. It
yeah,
is, it's hard because on top of that, it's different because back when like my mom got married at 19, like she was arranged and everything like that. She had my brother at like 21, I think me at like 25, 26. And that's the thing. I'm like, I definitely want to be like a younger, cooler mom, just like you guys, and just be like cool with it, but definitely finding that partner because
main
I
thing.
want to, do content when I'm having kids and everything. I love you for that because I always see you and I'm like, you guys have the cutest relationship. And especially now hearing that you were arranged too, I'm like, okay, my mind opened a little more because of that. I'm like, maybe it's
And
not as
sometimes
scary.
arrangements work out depending on like who the person is arranging because they like know parts of us and then just
Yeah.
understanding things. And I feel like it was something that I've never been open to, and I'm so glad I did because
Yeah.
I probably would have been single. I would have been like, no, because my standards, I'm like, listen, I'd rather be like alone than somebody's son stressing me out because that is not good for our skin, girl.
Absolutely. We're too pretty for that. We don't have time.
Sorry. And like divorce lawyers, I'm not even dealing with that. So like before I even like get onto it, it's like I have to make sure. Like I
Yeah.
remember us having like crazy deep conversations and having like so many different arguments and just like figuring things out that we were probably too young to even like know because we were really young when we had our nikah, which is like the Islamic marriage.
Yeah.
And then like he came to the country later on, and then I had the manna when I was really young when we were both young when we had the manna. He was 26 and I was 24.
Okay. Yeah.
So it wasn't like too young, but I felt like a baby and I just
But
was
yeah.
not ready. And I'm like, I'm a child bride and now I'm a child mom. And my friend's like, you gotta stop saying that to people. You were not a child bride. I'm
No,
like, well,
it's so true.
technically I was.
No, it's and that's the truth. It's because
But I
I
was still going through life. I was still trying to figure out my career and I was just like trying to figure out everything, trying to figure out myself. And it was like, bam. But
yeah.
I feel like when it comes to like things like kids and when you meet somebody, it's just purely destiny,
Yeah.
honestly. And what is meant for you and what soul is meant for you is going to come into the world. And
Yeah.
that's like, so that's what got me through that.
Yeah. No, no, it's so true. And I feel like that's the thing. There is that stereotype that I have to explain to like a lot of my friends from here and be like, it's not like the olden days where you're like forced into it. You guys
Right,
meet one
right,
day
right.
and all of that. But at the same time, yeah, that's like, similar to what happened with my mom. It was kind of like they met and within a week it was, everything was starting to be planned and whatnot. And that's the kind of wild part is I'm excited to go back this time and with a whole new open mind going through the last time I went I was like 10 or 12.
Wow,
Like
this is so
yeah, it's
fun.
gonna be a lot. Like I'm actually kind of excited, which if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have been like, you're nuts. Like, are
I
you kidding? But and
much
it's
fun.
wild. It's
This
like,
will be so good. I love the food.
I'm so excited just to even see family and just just like get to experience the culture in a whole different way. And I think, going back to it too, it's like there are specific arrangements that, it's like my mom's friends that have like had their eye on me since I was like 16. And then now, and then I'm like, well, you should go follow me on Instagram. A lot has changed since then.
It's like Tinder, but like the Indian version with aunties involved.
Oh. Oh, and it gets
Like
scary.
with Indian matchmaking.
It really, and that's the thing. I'm like, the way I've started describing it to my friends, I'm like, just imagine The Bachelor, but like auntie setting you up with this.
Right, right, which can, like, go either way depending on which auntie it is.
It really be like that. And that's the funny part. And that's where I love where we can relate on that too, because it's
It's
definitely a
crazy.
whole different, yeah, it's a
And
crazy,
it's very hard to explain to people that are not from the culture because 'cause they're like, "What?"
they don't get it.
I mean, and I don't blame them because I didn't get it either, and I'm from the culture.
Me, I get it. I'm like, well, have you I just no, but it's real because it's so different, and that's a big factor for your mental health too, going back to what you were saying of just having those conversations and setting, and that's the thing, I've given you the tote where it's like, know your worth and add tax. That's
Yes, yes, I love
that's
that.
my biggest thing. When I started this podcast, it was really to talk about mental health. And this is one of the biggest factors, being a mom and then, just having that good relationship with your husband. I think that makes it key because you're going to want to go to the Del Scott show and do all these things, but you can't have, a husband or, a partner who's just going to be like, oh, why? Like, that's not worth
Right.
it.
Yeah,
Because we're worth it. Everyone has a worth, and it's just knowing that worth and adding the taxes. Sometimes saying no to one rishta and like yes to another, and just
mhm.
figuring it out and getting to know the person. Because I feel like that's kind of the nice thing of like, especially living here, you can go out and just even there. I don't know. I'm gonna learn these things. I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah,
and that's the fun part. You're finding out who you are because of social media. We get to meet like we met, and
yeah,
just meeting so many people, you get to like just learn things about yourself, learn things about others. But it all does come down to, going way back to what you were saying, having those like moments to tap out.
yeah,
So important,
so
like so
important.
important.
It's
I
needed, it's so needed.
Yeah, no, it's so needed because it's like, and especially because you guys can do that together where it's like, you know what, you take the kids for a day and then I'm gonna just, go clear my head because
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I mean, until I become a mom, I wouldn't know how crazy that
It's
gets.
just so hard to, and I remember like when I was growing up. Oh no, no, not when I was growing. I was in college. Two of my friends they had kids,
Mhm.
and I had my baby sisters at the same time, and they were around the same age. And I was like, yeah, I know how it is with like mom life. I'm literally living with my little sisters, but it's so different when you go through yourself. I guess because when your body goes through certain changes, you have different
Yeah.
hormonal changes, and now you're so responsible of this child. And there's literally scientific studies that show your brain changing
Mhm.
after you become a mom, and they say that's one of the most drastic transitions a woman can go through. So it's
Yeah.
so different when you go through it yourself and you're just like, holy shit. Like,
Yes.
and it's just I don't even know, like, and it's hard to like explain that part on social media because of my, like, if you look at my feed, it's very aesthetic, it's very cute, because when I am going through a hard time, I'm not going to pick up my phone and be like, yeah, like I'm having a mental breakdown right now, or like whatever. Like, I'll talk about it, but it's just like also understanding that when you are viewing things on social media, that people are really sharing their highlights, and even if as raw as it can be, it was still curated, like no matter how raw. So
Yeah.
we have to understand, like, I always look at, like, I know like social media is becoming like more transparent and all that, but I still look as like at a magazine. When
Yeah.
you just see one aspect of it, you'll just see only for certain seconds of that person's life.
Yeah.
And and it's like, of course I end up sharing the good parts more, and the bad times I'm dealing with the bad time. Like, I can't be on social media and
No.
figure out my lows, but
Yeah.
we have to understand that everyone goes through lows, and it's just how they handle that and what tools they're using, what support they have, that really, in the end defines how they get through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree because that's the thing. Even though like Alex Earl, her little get ready with me is as raw and real as she is, she's still setting up her little light. She's still getting, I mean, she shows her room being messy, but it's things like that where yeah, everything is so curated, and I'm happy social media is going to a very like raw, real kind of thing. But
Hmm.
it's more so it's still, yeah, people plan it out. I mean, even with my Vlogmas, it's like when I'm taking clips, I'm trying to do like cool things that I'm seeing, and it's definitely it's almost like an additional pressure. And then like you were saying with your mental health of just like being a mom, I mean, not even comparing it, but like when I turned 25, they everybody made the jokes like, "Oh, your full frontal lobe will develop." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then it did.
Yeah.
Like the change is crazy. Like, I fully was like, I'm the one who actually suggested this India trip. I was like, you know what? I think it's time. I need to go see my family, go get my dental work. And my mom was like, what is happening? And I'm like, I really don't know,
You
but I'm
really,
not afraid.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's
true.
crazy. It's like you just, and I can't even imagine. I mean, after even just your first baby to now going on to the fourth, it's going to be like, I feel like you'll learn so many different
It's
things.
such a difference. Like I remember when I had my first and to now,
Yeah.
it's like such a drastic change, which is why I always wanted to like wait before I had kids. But you know, God had other plans. But I
Yeah.
remember I was just not where I wanted to be. And it's tough and it's crazy because that first baby really does grow with you. And it's
Yeah.
really growing with you and going through all the trenches with you. And
Yeah.
it's like I'm like I owe my firstborn so much.
I know she's adorable. No, it's true. I've seen it with my mom and my brother because, like I said, my mom got married 19, had my brother 21, and like every single day, like I'll look at their relationship and it like makes me like tear up. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're so cute because you're learning, and especially with my mom too, like being married so young and then coming here, and like you said, it's not like you have the village to take care. It
Right?
literally takes a village, and then when you
Yeah,
don't have that village, I
very difficult.
that's where
Yeah.
the spouse comes in, and you really need that,
Hmm.
like that support. It changes. It's such
Because
a
it's
game.
not something meant for one person. You didn't make this baby alone, you know, right? Like, and it's you're not gonna raise the child alone. So just it's just so important. That's why I know sometimes when people like talk about kids, I'm like the first thing is like having that supportive partner there. That's really gonna make your experience and your mental health and like how you're like because there's so many people that have postpartum depression and it makes sense because you're going through so much,
Yeah.
and you have someone that is one it's very hard for this person to understand because he's a man, right?
Yeah.
Or so it's like it's just all that stuff. But
Yeah.
yes, supportive partner is key. And then everything else becomes a bonus. Like if you have other people that are helping you out too, that becomes a great.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But it's not, it's like hard because, obviously like most of our family is back in the homeland and they're not here. And like even when they come to visit, I've just noticed, and now I'm looking back at like life, you have to take them for all the touristy things around New York and showing them everything. And it's like, and then you have the kids on top of that. So it's like just doing all of that, it's so much. And then just being a content creator too, you're putting your kids out there, putting yourself out there. It gets like crazy, and sometimes I swear those burnouts and those tap outs are almost like necessary just to reset. But I know, especially bouncing back from that, so
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It's hectic, and but you know what, you're
That's
still,
part of life. And it's like
yeah.
it teaches us and it's like going through that is also important.
Oh, absolutely. And like you're crushing it every day that I'm like seeing you post. I'm like, oh
Always
my,
losing it. I'm literally always losing it.
I know.
I
It's
think
it,
getting on this podcast was so funny because I had to like sneak away from the kids because if I told them they were gonna be like, "Wait, what's that?" So we had to like, pull out the air mattress for them so they can have like a movie thing going on. They were supposed to do it in the afternoon. They're like, "Is it afternoon yet?" I'm like, "Actually, yeah, it is." So
yeah, you're like, yeah, you know what?
we
That's
had to like taking out the air mattress for them and like doing popcorn, and they were watching Clifford the Big Red Dog.
adorable. No, I love it. I mean, and see, that's the thing. It's like you're balancing, literally work life balance is that, and I feel like
Exactly.
it's
It's like
it's a
yes,
lot.
and then you're like, "Whew, okay, I'm ready."
I know, no, seriously, I know this app itself was wild to navigate, but then, I mean, in all seriousness too, with like I've had my friend Jamie, she's a mental health counselor, and she was talking about postpartum depression and just mom mental health. I feel like that's like a whole other
Yeah,
podcast because it's so, I can't even imagine. I can't even speak to it.
complicated.
But yeah,
It's complicated. It's hard
complicated.
to put it in words. It's just I don't know. You just
Yeah.
have to take it like literally a minute at a time and just see how day. And then some days are great where you feel like you're crushing it and you're like, "Yo, I got this mom thing down." And other days you're like, "Wow, like I am not doing okay. I am not doing well." And I'm like, "I am messing up these kids." And then it goes back to like when you debrief with your partner at the end of the night and you're just like, okay, just having those like conversations and journaling. I think journaling is something that I really want to get back into because it's always great one to like look back at those things,
Mhm.
and then movement. I've been trying to like always work out and like just moving my body so I can be energized for them because one, these strollers and car seats are not light. Like they're freaking heavy.
Oh my
And of
God.
course I always have my husband to do that, but I'm like I also want to be like strong and like do it myself. So just like working on your health so you can like better show up for them is also so important, which is also so hard to get in a workout. Like I'm literally working out and they're like, "Can we do this? Can we have a snack? Can we have this?" And I'm
Mhm.
like stopping. But I'm also now waking up early like I should to so I can get it in. But right now with like being pregnant, like the fatigue is crazy. But
Mm.
eventually I want to get to a point where I'm waking up before the kids wake up so I can get like a workout in. I can get some quiet time in and I think that will help a lot. But right now in the season of life that I'm in, I'm being realistic and it's just like I kind of just need to sleep more and
Yeah.
then like working out with the craziness. And it's great working out with the kids seeing you because then I know Tanya will like grab like the little dumbbell, like I have a 2 pound dumbbell, and she'll
Oh,
grab it too. She's like, "Look, mommy, I'm getting strong." And then, just being like having those habits and like saying it out loud and they pick up on it. Because they'll be like, "Oh, is pasta healthy? Are cucumbers healthy?" And then it's just like having those things with them that like ends up transferring. Because like, when you're like, I want my kid to be a certain way, but I can't expect them to be like that if I'm not like that. Like,
yeah.
that one makes you a hypocrite. It just doesn't happen. And you
Yeah.
don't even have to put in that effort because they just watch you and
Yeah.
they'll follow along. So
Yeah.
right now, I think being part of being a good mom is working on myself and my discipline and just creating those healthy habits for myself as hard as they can be right now with the kids, but just showing them that I'm trying because I'll tell them like that was hard, but I tried. So like
Yeah.
just so they can understand that things are going to be hard, but all we can do is try. So just
Yeah.
trying to be vocal about those experiences and like, sometimes like maybe they don't get it, but I'm like, and then they do. And then they say certain things and they're like, you're like, oh, that's stuck. Or,
Yeah.
like they did get it.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's a
I
lot of that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And they're very just like attentive. Even right now, like the whole reason I started social media was for my little well, she's not little, she's 13, turning 13 next week. And my little cousin, and I'm so excited to see her. Literally, I remember when it feels like yesterday my aunt was just like pregnant with her, and then I met her once when she was 6 and when I was like 10, or I don't even know how old, but and we're always keeping up on social media and everything like that, and they're so vulnerable, and especially 13. It's just I feel like from the moment they're born till like especially 13 to 16, it's like
Such a
what you
transition.
drill into their head. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a like crucial point, and it's like I want to teach her certain things of like not just hygiene but also just like mental health overall. It's so
Yeah.
important because like you said, they'll be like, oh, is this healthy? Like you lead by example, and it's so hard because especially
Yeah.
when you have those like down days, you're like, oh, I gotta
It's
be
so
the best
hard.
version.
Yeah, and you have that pressure. That pressure is on, and it's like, but
Yeah.
it's also crazy how I realize how kids are so forgiving. Like sometimes, like I'll scream and I'll be like, ah, like like I'll lose it,
Yeah.
and then I'll apologize to them because I feel like that's very important, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, I screamed and did that, and they're just like, it's okay, mommy. They're like, it's okay. And they're like, it's so crazy how forgiving they are. And I'm like, I'm so sorry I did that. And then, and
Yeah.
then I see them doing that with each other too, because they'll like bug out at each other too. Sometimes it's so funny over like toys or whatever. And
Yeah.
then, I'm like, I want you to say sorry, but I want you to make sure that you mean that you're sorry.
Mm.
Like, do you understand how that hurt her? So there's a lot of those conversations while like just trying to also work on yourself.
Yeah.
It's just so hard doing that. Like, but you keep trying and you have to just keep going and just wish for the best.
Yeah.
But I think those things do stick. And I feel like even when they are like polite, like I remember the youngest Amelia, I think I told her like, oh, it's time to have like your snack, like I don't know, it was carrots or something, and she's like, no, thank you. And I'm like,
Oh.
I'm like, okay, that was polite, but you need to eat those carrots now. She's like,
I
I don't want it, no, thank you. And I'm like,
You're like, wait, what? Like, I love this, but wait,
but no.
I can't. And that's the thing. It's wild because they really pick up on like everything that you
So
say for
much.
sure. And it's even, I mean, look, Gia literally lives in India, but it's still like what she sees on my social media. She'll be commenting. She'll start sending me certain things. And then especially that's where our online presence
And
too. It's
having
like,
that is so important. Like having a cool aunt that you can like speak to, like that's just like you have your mother, which is great, but then you need to have like a cool aunt. It just changes your experience so much.
Yeah.
So I love that you're there for her, and then, she
Oh.
gets to learn from you and connect with you and, like, all the cool stuff. It's like having a cool big sister, literally.
That's literally what I want, and I mean, I wish you were my mom. You basically are my mom at this point, like,
I am your mom,
yeah,
girl.
yeah, you are. You're my mother. You're my fashion mother that I need all the advice from. I mean, and my mom is literally my best friend. Like
Oh,
I'm
God,
so
I love the
grateful.
relationship you have with your mom. It's amazing.
She's, and that's the most important thing. I think it's obviously you have that really strong relationship with your mom because you're able to just tell them literally anything, and that's your mom. Like she's never gonna, let you down, and I know you're gonna be an amazing mom to now 4. Like, oh my
I
God,
know, it's
I
gonna
was
be
so
I'll see
excited.
how that goes. If I disappear, you'll know why, but I'll come back.
Girl, Fashion Week. You have like, I'll see you then, and then it's like next Fashion Week. Hey, all 4 with me. Like,
No, no, I would not leave the house with all four of them. That'd be crazy.
that would be
I
wild.
can't do it. I can't do it. Like, if we leave the house with all three, it has to be both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's so important. It's like having that strong bond of like with your mom, but then also you're the mom and just with your husband too. I think it, like you said, it goes hand in hand, and it would not work without that really, really strong bond for sure. Yeah. It definitely makes a whole difference. But I mean, that's exactly why I love our social media platforms and even this platform with the podcast to be able to really like
Really
open up about it because it's like you
help,
said,
like behind the
it's
scenes stuff.
yeah, and it's so hard to have like a safe space because it's like we want our grid to be our profile grid to be like so aesthetic, but we want to talk about the real like nitty gritty daily life mental health with everything going on. You want to be your best version, but you have to also just be strong for yourself. And,
Yeah,
I feel like that's the best part is like Gia's all the way in India, but she's still being able to see the content. Like,
exactly.
that's
So
literally,
connect.
yeah, like, and that's the most important. That's literally why I do social media is because I think of it from the perspective of like, I started this whole thing when I was literally 11 years old. And,
Wow.
yeah, that's when I like really got into social media and everything like that. And just seeing the way it's like progressed and everything, it's so important. That's like why I do what I do is for grateful purpose. And I think this ties into our last question very well of it's a heavy one, not that everything else wasn't heavy, but what is your grateful purpose?
This one is a really easy one for me because it has to be my kids. And I feel like they are my legacy. It's what I leave behind way after that I'm gone. And I understand the importance of having a safe environment and just having that within you because then you can bring out all the great things that you have without having to heal.
Mm,
So that is my purpose, just to create, give them that, give them everything that I can possibly give to, make them those good human beings that are going to give back to society and, just feel good about themselves and like
mm,
not mess them up because like
mm,
raising kids in today's day and age is so hard. So my grateful purpose are my kids and just pouring into them as much as I can.
yeah,
And, pouring into them also means pouring into myself because that means, I am setting the example for them because
yeah,
I think that really is truly the best way to be the leader that they need.
yeah.
So yeah, that's
I
that.
think that's amazing. You are an amazing mom, and I know that it's not
I
even
try. I'm not. We're all losing it. We're all like just not. But I do try. I have to say that even like when it is the hardest, I do try, and I always try to have a positive mindset. Like there are times when I wake up and I'm like, wait, I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and I have to do this and then I'm like, wait, but I get to do this. I get to do that. I
yeah,
get to have these kids, and changing that mindset, like literally, it will change everything. It's all what's in your brain, and if you're constantly just saying negative things and just like and I'm not saying don't own your emotions. I think it's very important to understand those emotions, but having a mindset and being grateful
yeah,
is it makes a whole difference. And it's also teaching kids that because like, especially when kids don't have it as hard and they get like everything that they have, like, they get everything very easily.
yeah,
It's hard for them to learn how to be grateful. So
yeah,
just also like, try to instill that because when life gets tough, like having gratitude and having faith is like, in my opinion, is what's really going to get you through that
yeah.
without looking at outside sources to get your happiness from because then you're never going to be fulfilled.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I think, and that's the important part is like keeping it raw and real with yourself. Like you said, tapping out for a sec. And even if there's like a daily tap out, like you
Dale,
have to do
that's
it.
why that's my fashion week stuff. That's my tapping out, going to cafes with my friends, going to events. That's my full
Yeah.
day tap outs. Because one, I get to network with amazing women like you. Like, I got to meet you at Fashion Week, and then you really and they know that you can't see them as often, but they're there,
Oh
and you
yeah.
just like you always have those people that you get to connect with and
Yeah.
learn from. So, and I think that's like my healthy way of tapping out because it's kind of like I think that's also like where I have to be productive even when I'm trying to tapping out, but I truly enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like I truly enjoy having a conversation with like-minded people and and New York has so much to offer and
Oh
checking out all those fun cafes. Like there's always so much fun to do in New York City.
yeah.
So those end up being like a win-win because I get to tap out and I get to like, network and meet new people and spark ideas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the beauty of life. And going back to what you said of, especially your mindset. I went to Drexel. I lived there for 7 years and I finally just like hit this point in my life. I was really after February Fashion Week where I networked so much in February. Like I got invited to La Pont. It was the coolest
Oh yeah,
experience. And
amazing.
just, the people I networked with during February were the ones that let me come to Paris for their fashion shows and
Right, right.
doing that, like
Early's too.
living through, yeah, it was, but you hit that point and you're like, I definitely like need to change a few things with my mental health. And that's when I like moved home. I was like, I need my family. I need just
Mhm.
like, even yesterday, I drove into the city for the first time, which was terrifying. I
Oh,
was like, okay,
good.
$50 for
Oh
like
my
fuel.
god. You need a medal for that because that's like some intense.
It was, and it started snowing on the way back, and I was like,
In the
ah.
winter, oh Lord.
It was crazy, but you know what? I felt like Moana. I was like, I had to do that for myself. I was like, now I'm like, I've
Yeah.
scheduled so many other like events, and I know I'm gonna come see you now, and I can actually drive in. But it's definitely like you have to just change that perspective because like you get to be with your kids, you get to just be even in Brooklyn. And even for me, I'm like, thank God I'm like in the position I'm in where I can like have a platform like this. It's
Yes.
all about that mindset. And you are an amazing mom and you're instilling that in your kids. And I know our future little baby coming, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, you're already an amazing mother. So just one more sibling, and it's just the perfect little unit of just life. I think it's so, so awesome because, it's hard, with motherhood. I have so many of my friends are now having their babies left and right. They're getting married, settling down, and I know a lot of my friends are going through that postpartum too, and they're like coming to tell me these things. They're like, "I'm sorry, I'm such a shitty friend," and I'm like, "You're not. You have to focus on your
Mhm.
kids. You
Yeah.
have a real human being. This isn't like an Instagram account. Like,
Yeah.
this is your kids, and what you tell them on the
Yeah.
daily is so so important for sure. It's they
Mhm.
listen."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets so hectic. And I mean, I've ever since, especially probably my first fashion week, which was only like 2 Septembers ago, I've definitely had like girls DMing me and reaching out, and especially starting the podcast, younger girls, like between like all the college girls of like college fashionista stuff, like they will reach out to me and they'll be like, thank you for posting this episode or talking about this so openly, because it's scary obviously talking about arranged marriages. People are like, wait, but
I
see now
know.
like this will help so many.
I hope so. And I love that you have this platform and you're just like
Yeah.
so committed to it and it's amazing. So I
Yeah.
love that.
No, I love it. And honestly, I love you for coming on. And I'm so excited you're going to have to come back on for my little Fashion Friday series. I'm like working on all of the questions and everything like that right now. But it was fun to do it last season too, because even talking about like the pressures of that I do kind of two parts. It'll be like one before and then one
Mhm.
right after, and just talking about what we're excited for and then what how it went after. I feel like it's cool. It's like a nicer, funner perspective than just the little vlog that we get to do. But amazing. I love this. I will link all of Fatima's stuff down below. Make sure you go follow her. And Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the Grateful Purpose
Great.
podcast. Amazing. All right, I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.